scene.
Miami on the mind as 5 rounds have found themselves score complete. Round 6 takes them to a circuit they have never driven before in Tour history. This a chance to fight on Don Shula Drive around Hard Rock Stadium, the home of the Miami Dolphins. This, for your iRacing Grand Prix Tour, is an all-out brawl over 57 laps. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you're watching around the world. My name's Jake Sperry, and alongside with me for today's action is Craig King. Christian Deploy is in the director's chair. He's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But Craig, today sits itself as one of the tough challenges for these drivers. They are dealing with a lack of grip here today, and they are understanding more than at any time before. Points are going to be very important, knowing that a driver like Eduardo Radiz has seen 5 checkered flags and has got 4 victories.
Yeah, he's got a record almost like Don Shula back when he led the Dolphins in Miami to that undefeated season. You see that very treacherous little complex at the end of the lap there, the 16, 15, 14 down to 11 and going backwards for some reason. The tightest part of the track, which is going to be very tricky because this is quite a nice flowing track here. Lots of opportunities to get a good exit through corners like turn 1 to set yourself up through the long sweeping corners, and then you get onto those straights. 3 DRS zones I believe it will be today, but then you get to that section 11 to 16. The only elevation change on the track is you go under the highway there, and it's very tight. And I think the drivers have been talking about how it's the worst part of the track, not turn 8, because if you get there, well, you can't see where you're going and you're up the hill. We've seen what it's like in F1 in the modern day, but in these cars, it's going to be interesting to see how these cars tackle it.
Yeah, it will be really important to note that they will be bounding over the various curbs that make life difficult at this track. It's got 2 big overtaking zones, turn 11 and turn 17, out there off of Northwest 203rd. But you know that you've also got turn 1 as a chance to make those moves. So keep an eye out on what is a very important sporting mecca around here, because they host the Miami Open Tennis in the tennis grounds that are there at turn 9, basically, as you walk through. Let's talk that championship, though, as they set themselves through. Eduardo Radiz with 4 wins out of his first 5 on 108 points. He is almost 2 races clear of James Byrne and Jacob Reed, who have been nickeling and diming off of each other. Sander Halgaru finds himself then 4th on his rookie season, with Jeffrey Lawler and Volta Lux in 5th and 6th position. 7th currently is Alex Hagland, ahead of Leopold Steneros. Mario Bodlosh has only had 1 start this season, but is looking at his 2nd start today. He is 9th in the championship, and George van Rensburg, the South African, rounds out your top 10 with 2 7ths and an 8th place finish, titling up 16 championship points at the moment. So they've got themselves set up. They know how critical it will be. But if you're here for the first time, you're understanding what an iRacing Grand Prix Tour race is. To understand it, just imagine Formula 1, Craig.
Yeah, apart from we actually have the races here this time and not with incidents that close off. So it's round 6 of the 24 race calendar here, and it's going to be 57 laps around the Miami Autodrome today, which will be very treacherous and tough on technically a street circuit. Open setup. Use the iRacing baselines. Use the setup you've made yourself, or maybe one the community has helped you make. But if you crash, and you will, it's a street track, your day is done. There's no spare car out there today. It will be a drive-through at 17 incidents, and then every 8 incidents will be a drive-through again. There is no disqualification for incident points in this series.
No, which is good, because it means that you can find yourself to the checkered flag. Not good if you're struggling to get yourself around here. 20 cars here today, and a lightning strong strength of field to try and navigate through. This is going to be a very hard-fought run here today as they set, and these first times have come in 5,841 strength of field to navigate, as here is your championship leader, reigning champion Eduardo Radiz, piloting his way through turn 3 and over to turns 4 and 5. This fast flick left down one gear, trying to hold the pace to get over the curb through 6 and 7 into turn 8. And now you need to drive off the exit to say, look, now this long straight comes into play.
And this is where you need to try and make all the time up there. Watch the see the light go on there. 3 lights on the wheel there. The DRS is open down the straight 9 and 10. And then hard braking into 11. This is the tight section. Slow it all the way down right here, 4th gear, to now get through into 12. And now you feel you're through the slower stuff. It gets slower up the hill to 13, 14. Try to cut as much as you can. Was that an off track? I don't know. Full power down through turn 16. Behind the stadium we go. And now to the second of the DRS zones.
I confirm it wasn't. As he went over, he was very aggressive, and it shows you how much you can actually take out of it as he now looks for his braking marker here at turn 17. The convergence of northwest to 03rd, and then you've got, of course, the straight run that cuts through the Carl F. Barger Boulevard across the line for a first lap, a 29.5, but he'll have to go a second time to make sure he can confirm it. He's 3/10 clear at the moment, which is good news, but it's a 49-degree track temperature. It's a sauna.
It is, as they used to say on the Far Show, El Scorchio. But also, look at that wind. That's a 22 kilometer an hour, roughly 13-mile-an-hour wind. They will feel that, and it's westerly. If you want to know where west is, well, that long straight we were just looking at goes east to west. Most of the track is either going to have a tailwind, a headwind, or a lot of the track is going to have a lot of side wind. Mario Bolados already straight away up there. That's a shocker. Into pole position, provisional pole. As we've seen Kamaya as well, I can say James Byrne, the #1 car, he's not had the best of times on those first laps.
No, he's maybe looked to warm the tyres up a bit more. 131.9. There is consensus sometimes whether you go for first lap or second lap to be quicker, and James Byrne has elected to say, look, it's going to be the second lap that's going to be a lot better to get out there over the top of the miniature crest and through 18 and 19. Can James Byrne really leapfrog his way up the order? He puts a 129.8 down. That's only good enough for what is now 6th as Alex Hagland goes quicker. Sander Haugerud goes second as Eduardo Radiz crosses the line on a 129.4. Volta looks on a 29.3. Is up on pole position at this moment in time. That is a huge lap for a driver who has never had a pole position in the 66 starts he has had, but this man could ruin it. Jacob Reed.
The Worcester man, a little correction. His first lap was invalid, and I feel that correction there through 17 did not help him. He's going to have to get flat down here. It probably won't be a pole time. I might have to eat my words if it is.
It is.
It's a 29. It's just, and then Mario Bolas couldn't match it.
Oh, Budlos is 3,000 shy. Lux is 5,000 shy. And it's the closest we've ever seen in the Grand Prix Tour for pole second and third. George Van Rensburg crosses and goes 6th with his 29.7. You've got drivers like Kent Nielsen out there on a second attempt here and hoping to get it sorted. Volta Lux has never had pole position. He still doesn't, because Jacob Reed, when chips are down, right now he's on for career pole number 24, and qualifying will be sorted with Kent Nielsen crossing the line. Only Balazs Galliard hasn't set a time. We are going to see qualifying end about 15 seconds early. Craig, that is one of the most amazing qualifyings I have seen in the Grand Prix Tour.
Well, that's just I mean, that's almost like, remember the F1 3 times with the same 3 drivers with the same time? That's as close as you're going to get. And when you think about real world racing, when was the last time we saw that apart from those 3 identical times? You don't get times that close. 2000s, I can't even tell you how quick 2000s are. I've been talking for 2 tenths.
Yeah, it's a case of you blink and you realise a tenth of a second has gone by, or a half a tenth of a second. But let's get a look at this starting grid then, because this is now setting itself up huge. Jacob Reed will get the pole, a 129.315. You'll have a couple Austrians behind him in Mario Bodlos, whose career best this season is second, and Volta Lux, who has yet to hit the podium so far this year. The reigning champion, the championship leader, all to do from fourth place, with Sander Haugerud in fifth, and George Van Rensburg, he will line up in sixth place. Kostek Solovier will start seventh, with Jeffrey Lawler eighth. Alex Hagland will start ninth. The big shock is that James Byrne, who is second in the championship, he's down in 10th with work to do.
Well, 10 more drivers to go, and Edward Apariari will be in 11th for the number 11 car. Florian Kammeyer will take in 12th, with Leopold Stellaras in 13th. Gabriel Martinez will take 14th, and Ali Goshman will be in 15th. Lyle Pinard will take 16th, and Kent Nielsen, as we saw, with 17th, with Mac Barnes in 18th. Ronaldo Augusto will take 19th, and Balazs Galliard did not set a time. I don't know if he's here, actually.
Well, Balazs Galliard, as far as it sets, I've got him in server at the moment. He's just elected not to qualify the car, and so he will be looking around at how he looks to go and attack this one today. It is 57 laps. We are expecting it to be a one-stop strategy, soft to medium or medium to soft. Most drivers have elected to start this one on a medium compound tyre currently. It will be a case of how late do they want to leave it to change the strategy that they have in mind. They will note that they have the 2 minutes to start up on the grid, or they elect to go from pit lane. So this might be a case of everyone plays the same strategy card on what is a baking hot track here in the Florida sun right now. 50 degrees. Get that. 50 degrees out there on surface. It's enough to fry an egg out there as they get themselves set. It's a short run to turn number one, but with the closed nature of the corners through turn 2 and 3, it's one that is very often a corner that can cause incident if you're going to be aggressive out there on the brakes. This is the first time really all season that we've seen Eduardo Rodis on the back foot and needing to find something of note to bring himself up the order and to find his chance. He has been dominant from the front of the field, but he's lined himself up then on the grid. He's gone for a medium tyre. All drivers right now are starting on a medium compound tyre. We wait for Volta Lux, who gets up on the grid. So let's get ourselves set and ready then. Here from Miami, whose vices will be preyed upon today. Let's get ourselves going, and Jacob Reed will see ourselves off to a launch. Horrible start then from both the Austrians. Rodis will get a lovely launch, so too does Jeffrey Lawler into turn 1. 3, 4 wide, there's contact as George Van Rensburg's into the side of Eduardo Rodis. They both keep it on circuit. They try and tiptoe around. Florian Kammeyer has had an absolute stormer of a get-go. Jacob Reed is clear. Bodlos second, Lux is third. Lawler up to fourth, and James Byrne is already fifth, and there's almost contact there as Van Rensburg and Kammeyer nearly come to blows.
What a start from James Byrne there, just capitalised on that big moment there with Eduardo Rodis. What damage does he have, because he was locking tired there with Rensburg, and I wonder if that's going to cause a lot of
front wing damage
out there. It is front wing. I was trying to have a look at that. That's going to be affected. Did I just see some damage as well from Rensburg? There's 3 wide behind them as well. This is a very hectic start, and now you've got drivers out of position here, Jake, because for a moment I thought that was going to be a great start for Rodis, and then he got caught up.
This is technical now as you come up underneath the Florida Turnpike here and work very hard through the SE section, up through this chicane, now into turn 16, and this is where you get the launch along Northwest 203rd and try and say, look, I can get through. George Van Rensburg on the radio then, and probably looking at maybe apologising for a little bit of the contact that he's had. Kostek Solovier in 8th. He's got damage, does George Van Rensburg, across both sides of his front wing, both end plates. Lunges back there in the late field as Kent Nielsen will drop a place. That's Balazs Galliard, and that's trouble. Spinning across, you don't often see a spin there from Edward Apariari there. He was getting very close, and I wonder whether he was tagged loose by Gabriel Martinez.
Well, I'm having a look back at it, and I don't think it was. I think it was just the fact that he was on cold tires, still warming up, and having to basically go and try and go on marbles. And this track doesn't have a lot of grip when you're on the marbles, and I think he just got caught there. And I wonder if that was also going to cause a bit of an issue. I think Van Rensburg with a meatball flag, Nielsen as well in. Both of them have gone onto the soft, and there is a black flag as well from Rensburg. And, well, the leaders, they managed to get away here. And I think if you're Jacob Reed right now, seeing Eduardo in the wall with wing damage, wow, big shock here. That's going to help the leaders.
Yeah, it's all about finding yourself with dramas out there. I think George Van Rensburg's very unhappy with Kostek Solovier out there, and that penalty for George Van Rensburg here. He will have to serve. Radice now in 8th after the passes have come through. So Solovier making himself known and getting jumped back up to even. 3 clear at the front of this field as well. It is Reed, Bodlosh and Lux. And at the start of this next lap, they'll get the DRS as Sander Haugerud here, fighting hard with James Byrne. Very tight hairpin down at turn 17. You've got to be pretty much committed to the inside to get it all sorted.
Yeah, and he got on that marble again, and that's really catching drivers out. Ballas is out now. He was driving, and he's been doing well, getting a few positions, and now the key is to try and get ahead as Radice comes into the pits to get that wing damage fixed. And I just wonder if now he's going to have a little bit of a long run here. As I think we got a replay lined up, Jake. I think we're going to see this start again. Here's the start for Radice. They went 4 wide, very aggressive, but it all started from the bad starts here. And look at the start there. 4 into that corner, never worked. I don't even think 3 makes it.
No, Jeffrey Lawler locked it up and had to basically turn on a dime, and unfortunately he looked into his pocket. He was all out of dimes as we're now with a change for the race lead as Mario Bodlosh jumps through on Jacob Reed and says, that's mine. In the background there, Haugerud still trying to work away around James Byrne, doesn't quite get there, but the more they scrap like this, these top 3, they're going to allow Jeffrey Lawler into the fray here. He's not a million miles away. He's about a second, 1.1 back. Agonizingly close there in the number 12 on home soil. He wants to try and make something happen. As we take a look at this pass, it was nice and easy down the inside, but Jacob Reed now with the rear wing flap was open. He's going to elect not to go and make that move. So Bodlosh will take some laps led here at the front.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just a little bit of strategy there from Jacob. He's not looking to be that aggressive this early, and I think he also realizes, like you were just saying, Lawler is catching up there, and it doesn't really take a king to understand that. Well, you kind of have to just let yourself wait out here. If they can extend the gap, if the top 3 can extend the gap, they don't need to be fighting right now. And look at that gap right now. And the problem with Lawler is look who's right behind him. It's James Byrne. What a start both of them have had. But for Byrne, after being, let's be brutally honest, Jake, out of where he normally would be on the grid, fantastic work by him on that first lap, and now he's got to make it work.
Yeah, so he's got to do everything he can. Let's take another GSRC replay. This was Edward Pariari after the end of the opening lap. So Gabriel Martinez gets close, and then he's just loose on the outside there. Cold tyres trying to get a lot of wheel rotation in. This is a highly strung race car. Anything can make that car snap.
Anything can. Jacob's back to 3rd. I was just about to look at that. He was losing time to Bodlosh there, and I wonder if it's just probably something not right there. Dare I say, Jake, maybe he's in the wrong mode. As there's the replay again. So it's not a case of being in the wrong mode here. It just looks like he's just not attacking, and if he's that far behind Mario, he wouldn't have got the DRS to fight Walter right here.
Well, I think Jacob Reed is trying to maybe conserve some tyre early on and give himself something later on in this race. I think he's struggling to begin with, and it's not often that we talk about Jacob Reed having to struggle out there. We know him as a very known tyre burner in this Mercedes W13. So with Bodlosh gone down the wayside about 2 seconds, these hot conditions might actually put a question mark between whether this is a 1 or a 2 stop.
Well, we know as well that in some of the series, some of the races this week, the cloud cover had been a little bit more favorable but it got up to 51 Celsius in one of the earlier time slots today. So that just gives you an idea that the track is warm, and it's 12:43 sim time. So that also gives you an indication the track is warm, it could get hotter, and as I'm talking, it's just gone up to 51 Celsius. That is definitely egg frying capabilities there on the track right now, but I don't think they're frying egg, they're frying these iRacing compound tires.
They are. Lovely scrap as well as Leopold Staneros here is going hard at it for position with Gabri Martinez for a point. Ali Gochman, then the Turkish driver, up against the Hungarian Balázs Galliar. Galliar through now and up into 12th, getting the pass at turn 11. And they are really throwing it out there at the moment. These drivers, when it gets to this time of the season, Craig, they are used to Sebring rather than this Miami International Autodrome.
Yeah, we've got Miami. We've got to use Miami, and I love this track. And Sebring's a little bit bumpy, and I did see Martinez having a little bit of a bump through 14 and 15, taking too much of that curb in that tight chicane as Pinard, the South African, goes on by him. I'm not saying there's a bias here, but I think our director is really wanting to show the South Africans do well today. And, well, I think every overtake that Lion will get, I think we may be seeing it, Jake.
I think we will, and if George van Rensburg can get himself back into play, he can as well. And Eduardo Radiz pitted for that front wing change, so he has lost himself the position. He's back in 18th right now. This is a pure recovery drive for the championship leader, and when you've got a 46-point margin and you build it up, you're not expecting straight away to start burning into it as he pitted at the end of lap 2.
But you look at the gap between him and Stenerus, and that's, what, 15-second gap? I know he's not going to be able to carry these softs all the way to the end as Alex Hagland's battling as well with Kostek right behind him. Keep an eye on Eduardo because he can make that time back. A top 10 is definitely in the cards for him, but need to try and make sure he can get there. And Jacob again with the flap open and then closes the flap early. Jake, I'm just going to ask you this. Is this a case that he may take under fuel and he may just be trying to make the car lighter for later?
It's also that as Haugerud gets by James Byrne, who had used up a lot of tyre early there, and Haugerud says, look, I'm going to fly through. Bodlosh, fastest lap of the race. It could be that he's slightly under fuel. James Byrne's not done, though. He'll fire it back here at turn 1. Goes in a little deep, so now he's going to have to fight this one through 2. Haugerud trying the long way around. Very tough to get there back to the inside of 3. Great scrap.
Great strap, and I think Nigel Mansell will say that's a little bit artificial, but he's got a point there. But that DRS really usable there, and I wonder if that was the thing by James, that he knew that if he lost that position going into 17, he'd be able to get the detection zone on the exit there. So really trying to keep it as tight as he could behind, make that DRS work. Very quick run down there. It's the shortest DRS zone, but it's enough for him to make it work. That's now what he needs, and I'm going to be curious if he can start to shake off Haugerud. He wants to have another go through, and he's got a little bit late in there, but he's had to force James wide.
Yeah, this is tough to navigate through because if you keep running wide, big snap of oversteer trying to put the power down. Haugerud's going to have to be cautious about this as Galliar is the man on the high seas, making a very astute and comfortable move then to jump up another one. So he is flying. That's Gabri Martinez he's got through, and that puts him up into 11th position. So he'll be very impressed with the way that he's going about. No move's going to be offered here into this next corner, turn 17 on track, but Haugerud knows that he has got time to play with at the moment, but he's got to get a move on here because if they keep fighting, they might let Alex Hagland into play.
Yeah, and I think they're just going to have to keep their eyes open on that relative as well, just to see if he can look for that, and wouldn't be surprised if he goes for it. Gabri Martinez getting past Galliar once again using the DRS, going to start harvesting, put his car into the middle here, and you can see that even though his car in the middle here for turn 1, Ballias tried to go for the move, and that's some good defending from Gabri. Aggressive into the middle of the corner, but he had to make Galliar make the move there to try and set it up. And really, Galliar had nothing for him.
No, Balazs Galliard, I think, understood that I've not got the drive on the inside because I'm pinched down low and I've got to find a way. That's a mistake, though, here at turn 8, and this is going to give an almighty run for Balazs Galliard. They pass the tennis courts on the left-hand side of screen as they work hard through this section, through turn 10, over to 11. He'll be on the wrong side of the road to try and make this pass. Find your braking mark on the right-hand side. Gabri chucks it in deeper, and Balazs has to bail. So Galliard there, realising that he could have had a car in the side, just electing to open the steering out and not want to risk it any more than necessary.
Yeah, and I think Gabri as well being a little bit hard onto the corner there, understeered wide on the exit there, and that put Balazs a little bit wider, but they've now got Gochman as well right behind. You've got to be careful, because if you bring more in, you know, you bring Pinar in, you bring Barnes in, and you're starting to lose the top 10, and that's what the drivers want. They want that 10th place. They want to get points. I believe Gabri's yet to score on the points this season, but Galliard as well, I think he is in the point. I'm going off the top of my head here, Jacob. Apologise, I'm not looking at the stat table right here.
Correct.
But these drivers would love to be in the points.
Yeah, Gabri's had a 12th and a DNF, as here is Edward Apariari battling with Reynaldo Augusto, who is jumping in on a part-time basis. He's a driver from Brazil who can go out there and score points, has scored on positions before. Balazs Galliard, by the way, 1 championship point to his name this season, but Edward Apariari is there, and you just saw in the background on soft tyres Eduardo Radice. He'll want to try and get through as well, but the train is very much formed at the moment, and it's all aboard the Gabri gondola.
Well, so that's something we've not heard for a while, and I wonder if anyone's going to be able to make Gabri crack here, because almost everyone in this train has DRS. I think Pinar, the only driver not to. Is there going to be a move here again? Gabri's going to defend this around the outside. Look at the defense around the outside. Made it stick there. Fantastic. Picture-in-picture. Jacob Reed finally using that DRS to get back. But did you just see that, Jake? Gabri continues to attack that curb. So much so that I didn't realize that these F1 cars could go 4 freewheels in the air.
They can, and they certainly do showcase that, as here comes Eduardo Radice now to basically put himself on the same strategy as those he's fighting around with. So this to try and get by. Reynaldo Augusto comfortably dispatches of 1, puts him up into 17th. It's a long road for Eduardo, and I'd still expect him to pit before his rivals in and around, switch to a 2-stop strategy, go soft from now to the end of this race. But he's going to have to do some nursing of the tyres at some point, or he's going to have to switch to another medium tyre while everyone else around finds himself on a soft late on in this race. So it's a case of the needs must for Eduardo Radice, and needs must next on the train for him, EOA Edward Apariari.
Yeah, that strategy is going to be interesting, because let's just go back to a track temperature here, Jake. 52 Celsius, 126 Fahrenheit. You could do another set of softs when the tank is low, but he's basically having to do 55 laps on 2 sets of softs. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. That's going to be a tall order. So is trying to get past Gabri Martinez. Galliard continues to struggle, and he's in the right opportunity there at that turn 11, and he just can't make it stick, and then he just hinders himself here down this line. And even though Gabri makes the mistakes or just a little bit more uncertain through here, Galliard can't make the run here down into 17. I think he needs to set himself up for 17 more than he's setting himself up for 11. Maybe this time with the DRS finally gets it done.
Yep, here comes the pass, and now he needs to confirm this one in at the next corner, but Gabri doesn't know the word quit, not in his Spanish dictionary, and ultimately he gets hung out there, nowhere to go. So Martinez loses out that time. Ali Gochman, I think, is going to be the best friend here of the Hungarian, but Gabri's having another look. Thought to the inside, goes very deep to the outside, runs it into the marbles, has to fight back. Gochman's now going to get the drive, but he's stuck on the inside, so he's not going to see that one at turn 3. I do want to note as well here, as Radice comfortably gets another one sorted, keep an eye on the top speeds that Mario Bodlosh is getting. He's consistently 3 to 4 kilometers an hour quicker than Jacob Reed on the straights, and I wonder whether that's to do with the way that he's using his energy recovery system.
Well, you said that quit's not in Gabri's vocabulary. Salia is what it is in Spanish, and I think some of these drivers at the front won't be having a Salia moment because they'll just be knowing that Mario's going to be really pushing hard to really just keep those speeds up and wait to see the tires when they run out later. Gauchman get past Martinez, and, well, we say it every now and then, Jake, the cork in the champagne bottle, I feel Gabriel Martinez, that cork is starting to open.
And Sander Haugerud now jumps through as well. He goes through, but he's deep there at turn 17. So James Byrne has a chance to scrap back. They are staying within range here of Jeffrey Lawler, both getting DRS as they run to turn 1. And James Byrne having to be careful about that front wing as he tiptoes his way into the corner. But they have to think about bigger picture as, oh, speak of the devil, Gabri just chucks it in deep and says, either you're into me or you're not going to find that there. So that was tough. Radice getting another one done. He's past Larpina, and this is hot knife through butter stuff right now. On a day like this, he just melts his way past Apariari.
And now he's going to get to the front of this train, and I wonder what's going to happen when he gets through Gabri Martinez, because Gabri really has been attacking here today. He's just here for the long haul. He's not here for a long time. He's here for a good time. He just had to get on the brakes, though, for Route 8, 5, and 6 because he was almost too fast to the back of Galliard. And now you could say it's a Galliard train if Gabri doesn't get a good DRS run here. But even with the DRS, he will start to attack down here as they finally in that DRS. I wonder that this could be interesting. Will we see another dive in here from Gabriel Martinez? I don't think he's close enough. He was looking, Jake. Maybe another move into 17 is lining up.
Well, if he can find the move, he will be very, very pleased about the way he can uncork it. But this is a very sticky situation, and drivers here who are just dancing on the limit. This is what happens around a circuit like this one. It's pretty much a case of it bottles you up to give you the overtaking opportunity on the long straight. So you have to be very patient about the way you go about it. Eduardo Radice, for example, nowhere near close enough to Ali Goachman to make a move. At the back of the pack, here's Reynaldo Augusto. This is seeing Max Barnes there just in front. Max Barnes, who is the 20th best iRacing in this field.
Yeah, and I tell you what, give him credit. Not doing a bad job because these are some really tough drivers here. 5,841 strength of field. We mentioned it before. Max is doing what he can, and well, it's got to feel a little bit demoralizing when you've got a driver on softs going past you, but you know the race is going to come to you if you just play a safe game. Anything can happen. This train could get a little bit twitchy in front, so let's not worry too much. Radice would love to get past some of these drivers, but every car in front of him now will be with DRS. It's going to be tough for him to look for a move, even on the softs, and track temp gone down to 50 Celsius, Jake, but if he continues to be in a train like this, well, he's going to have to look for a long run on the mediums if he doesn't get past Gauchman. Get past, that's vital for his recovery drive.
Yeah, it's an important first pass, but now he's got to deal with Gabriel Martinez as the next one in the group. This has been tough, and oh, we got Hagland and Byrne now going for it. So Alex Hagland's pulled himself into play, and so that's Sander Haugerud there off the road. Just there as he went through. He went lunging down the inside of Jeffrey Lawler, caught the wall on the inside, and effectively had to find reverse to get back going again. Sander ultimately finding out that that's not going to work, and Jeffrey Lawler, the old end-or brake maneuver.
Yeah, fantastic. And yeah, these cars do have reverse. You may not know it, but they do have reverse on them. We're going to have a quick replay to see what happened because we just moved it. Here comes that Sounder looking for a good run here. He's got the DRS, and, well, you're seeing now start for the last moment. If it was any, I think it was actually the bump of the curbs there, Jake. May have still took a bit too much speed. May have been able to get that under control. And then a little burnout for good measures. Maybe if that curb wasn't there, may have been on. But again, street circuit. Very tight corners. I think that caught him out.
Yeah, really tough to find yourself into play riding around this wonderful Miami circuit. I love it. I know people like Southpaw Racer, for example, have just released a super serious track guide on it, so he really doesn't. But Reese, I like this circuit, and I like the battling that is here. out there. But Ali Gochman here is now next up on the list of Gabriel Martinez. If he can find a way to get this pass, feigns into the mirrors to the inside, never close enough to make the move. Gabriel, I think, is having troubles finding a brake mark down there at turn 11. I don't think I've seen him hit an apex once.
I'm just trying to think as well. He's had DRS, he's had to defend as well, and been really aggressive with his defending. Maybe he's just having issues out there. And also, even though the track's starting to cool down, it's 49 Celsius, we're starting to get colder. What has he done to those tires, battling as hard as he has? That's one to think about as well. I wonder if he's just gone a bit too hot as Radice gets ahead of him. And look at that gap. I know it's soft tires, Jake, but Martinez can't climb up. Oh no, Gabriel, too much.
He's just somehow managed to get that slowed up. How on earth he has managed to do that? The anthill mob couldn't stop it on a dime. It's a pass. Don't get me wrong. It's a pass. That is the most Gabriel-coded pass I have ever seen in my life.
I mean, I think my reaction, everyone's reaction in the booth is Radice just says, you can't do that to me. Goes around the outside there of turn 3. That almost looked, again, you talked about he misses, he doesn't have a braking marker for 11. That looked like he didn't even know he had a braking marker there for turn 7. Real good shot there because, like I said, our reaction in the booth here was, that's an incident. Heads up there to Radice for realizing at the last moment, hang on, I need to back out of this.
And I think this will tell Eduardo Radice, look, you've got to get by the Hungarian now, otherwise you could be at risk here. So Eduardo is going to get a sense of this race. It just got antsy. Looks over to the inside here to turn 11, puts him up into P11. Nice, comfortable pass then. Balázs Galliard didn't have anything to fight that back with, and suddenly you can stretch your legs. It's now 12 seconds to the back of Leopold Staneros, and such is his eagerness to get away there is Eduardo Radice. He puts a bunch of time over the curb there as he jumps on through.
No, I mean, he's saving tyre. You go over the curb, tyres are not touching the ground. That saves some tyre wear, surely. I think that might be what some of the drivers are looking at there today. And now this field goes in. I've noticed every time we've looked back, we talked about the Gabriel moves here. Gochman really going into the corners hard, and I'm not talking about the braking. He's carrying much more apex speed than Martinez, and then he has to back out of it. So he really has the number on Gabriel here, which again says to me Gabriel can't find the braking points. I mean, I don't blame him. I wouldn't know the braking points. All those tires are starting to wear out a bit, and he's not having the speed. And I wonder if it's the latter more than the former. And I wouldn't be surprised if Gabriel's the first man to go in. From my recollection, though, Jake, it's about 35 laps on a set of mediums is roughly what we're looking at today.
Yeah, because they run C2, C3, and C4. In the real world, you'll see C3, C4, and C5, which are softer tyre compounds out there, so they can run longer effectively. The medium is a hard, the soft is a medium. Gochman now crosses over, looks to the outside, try and get this pass on Gabriel Martinez. Gabriel's going to be a bit better on the brakes here. They're going to have a big old duel, but this right-hander, 180 degrees around this amphitheatre. Lovely from Ali Gochman. What a move.
What a move. Something's happened to Burns, though. So Burns has got a meatball flag. Burns has gone into the back of Alex Hagland.
Oh, and you don't expect this guy, best iRacing in the field, to make this mistake. On the brakes, hits his mark. He's gone a little bit deeper and bang, straight into the rear, straight into the pits. He's lost the front wing. He's got black and orange mechanical flag damage. And Leopold Staneros is also into the pits. So he's another driver who's decided, right, my strategy is going to be to stop out there today as he's on a set of softs. Here comes the battle back from Gabriel Martinez. He's going to go lunging for it at turn 1. Long way around of 1, commands the inside at 2. Great pass there from Gabriel Martinez. But James Byrne, he seldom makes mistakes, and I wonder how much of this is pressure.
Could be pressure. Could be a little bit of not realizing the overspeed. But it could, I think, that pressure, because remember, James, #1 driver in the field, the top-rated driver in the field. That's not a good, it was not a good qualifying for him, not a good start to the race for him, well, great start for the race for him, and he had to just keep that momentum up, and I wonder if that momentum just stopped him, because this is a momentum track, Jake, and I wonder if that just a small lapse of concentration cost him. I don't think there's damage to the back there of Alex. I think he mainly caught the wall more than the rear of that car.
Well, that's good news for Alex Hagland. We take a look at him right now. It's a little squirrely as he puts the power down, but nothing really looks out of place on the rear of that Mercedes. So Alex Hagland still there in 5th place. We'll be looking at this going, well, I count my lucky stars that I've got a titanium rear end at the moment, and it's not going to be anything that stops me out there. But keep an eye out on what that's done. It means Eduardo Radice now with the pit stop as well of Leopold Staneros is in 9th place. Gap at the front, I just want to note this, is down to 3.2. So Jacob Reed is keeping Mario Bodlosh quite honest out there at the front of this field as Gabriel and Lyles, the Ali Ghoshman pit.
Yeah, did see that as well. I'm looking at the times as well. Last time by for Mario was a 1:33.2. It was a 1:32.7 for Jacob. And I'm starting to wonder if that tyre wear is playing factor now. We know this season Jacob's been doing interesting pit strategy, Jake. He's been forced to one-stoppers in some races that you don't normally expect a one-stopper. This is a natural one-stopper, providing you don't go too aggressive. And I do wonder if this is now just a case of conserving those tyres. They've got another, 15 laps to go on these mediums. And if Jacob's in the 32s now, and everyone else is in 33s, what's that saying about their tyre wear?
It says that he saved it early and everyone burns it a little bit more. Another 2/10 off of Mario Bodlosh, down to 3.1, under 3 seconds it dips. Volta looks, he's in, he's on a 2-stop.
You know what, and I wonder, let's go back to that track temperature, Jake. I know most of the drivers want to do one-stoppers. Hottest track they've seen all race weekend. And I wonder if that's playing havoc right now, because when the cloud goes in, it drops to about 49. There's not a lot of cloud out there, and I wonder if this is just a case that this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of one-stoppers today if these guys can't make it.
No, if those at the top look around and say, well, 2-stop I think is quicker in the conditions, and Volta looks is the sort of driver with what he has as tools available to him, what he's created, Craig, as Leopold sets the fastest lap and goes, I think it's actually quicker to be on a 2-stop strategy. He'll go to the 2-stop strategy here. Lap 19 of 57, and Jacob Reed has just taken an absolute age out of Mario Bodlosh, and most of that would have been for how aggressive he was bouncing over the curbs over at turn 14.
Now look at the speed differences here. Mario hit 308. Jacob didn't even get close to where he was 298. Mario's into the pits though. This is the telltale sign. The tires are starting to wear. What is Jacob doing? Now I know I was just saying no one probably wants to make a one-stopper work. Jacob's still putting in 33 flats right here, Jake. I'm not saying he's going to do a one-stopper, but the later he gets on that first set of softs, the better for him. And I wonder if this is a blinder because now Lawler's into the pit. Is Hagland going to come into the pit? He does. Is Stander going to come into the pit? He does. Kostek, is he the next one to come into the pit? I reckon he is, and he is. Everybody's in now.
Solovier in, you look around, there's Florian Kamai in no, so he's going to stay out longer on this, and now, where's everyone going to come out? Alex Hagland's leaving pits, it's Eduardo Radice coming down the front stretch now, so this is a great indicator of where people are and how they're trying to manage. Haugeru's having a nightmare trying to get onto the power as he leaves pit lane, but there's Kamai. He's come out directly behind Jeffrey Lawler, and Lawler, who will have a much better tyre life now, has the chance to build the tyre temp, it won't take long, and run.
53 Celsius now. He's got to get those softs up to temperature. Well, with a track that's good enough to bake an egg right now, I'm not saying cook, bake an egg right now. That's going to be interesting. I've not seen Florian pitted though. In fact, Gabriel Martinez, Augusto, Kamaya, and Reed, the only drivers yet to pit. By the way, I believe Burns might be out of the race. He's still in the pits. He's not doing anything. Rensburg as well at the back of the field into the pits. But this is going to be a good indicator. What are these 20-lap-old mediums going to do compared to this soft? Well, I'd be lucky if you still see him with a DRS flat right now, and he's just outside that detection.
Yeah, it just goes to show you get outside of 2 tenths, you hit the dirty air, it really makes itself known. And Leopold Staneros here, look, he's already just tiptoeing around a second or so and gets the drive off of the exit. 8 tenths, 9 tenths. I think he will still have DRS, but not by much out there. So Gabriel Martinez then finding out that he is going to be a driver going backwards all day long, trying to find out what he can do. So mixed strategy in the heat of Miami. It's not basketball right now, but there are definitely drivers out there, and most of them have decided we want to double dribble on the softs.
Yeah, that's going to be a traveling penalty for the drivers, and I think Gabriel Martinez is looking to not get his 5th technical of the day, because that would get him out of the race. He is on the medium, still trying to battle Stenerus here, but I don't think he's there. The grip's starting to say no, and he's going. Jacob Reed, well, he's losing time. 13 seconds ahead of Mario right now. But I'll tell you one driver, I was just thinking about this, Jay. Now this race is going to be a 2-stopper. Who does this help? It's Eduardo. All of a sudden, he's just sneaked into the top 10. But he's going to be battling now, I think, maybe for a top 5, because everyone's going to have to do a 2-stopper.
I think that's very fair, but remember, Eduardo's tyres are going to be the worst out of everyone's at this moment. Remember, he's been on that set of tyres since lap 3 of the race. So, yeah, he's made his first stop. He's probably got one more to go. He'll probably be eyeing up about lap 30 if he can. That will be fair for him to go 27-27. So he's got to do another 8 laps on this set, hoping that it's going to hold, and then get his second stint in doing another set of laps. Volta looks fastest lap. I want to note here the time difference on the lap. Jacob Reed was a full 6 tenths of a second slower per lap right now as Kamaya comes off of his set. Sander Haugeru now fastest on circuit in the number 10. I would be looking at Jacob Reed going, how long do I need to hold? And I think he's got the same issue right now as someone like, I don't know, Eduardo Radiz. I've got to just make 8 laps.
I don't think Eduardo can make 8 laps. He's 3 tenths slower than Reed on the softs. And he's been on those softs now for 20 laps. And Reed's been on those mediums for 22 laps. And this is a good indicator. I know that the drivers are going to be on softs with lighter fuel right now. But if Eduardo is struggling to make 20 laps on the softs, what do they do for that final pit stop? Do they even think about going to the mediums? I mean, I'm not the expert here. I'm probably going to be told you're an idiot, Craig. I think there's going to have to be 2 sets of softs. But how long can they make this first set last if Eduardo, granted on a tank of fuel, as Florian's had a moment, if Eduardo can't make 20 laps on this?
Florian Kamaya here has got a black flag, and I look at it, and it's straight after his pit stop. So he's obviously had either an unsafe pit entry or he's sped coming out of the... it's an unsafe pit entry. He's cut the line too fine, Craig, and he'll have to come back in. This has been a horror start to the season for the man who last won in Florida.
Yeah, he was the last man to win in Florida, and there is a line of where you enter, how you've got to take the entry to the pit lane. And I do wonder if he just put that a bit too late. Could be a case that he wanted to get into the pit a little bit later than he would have wanted to. So that's a big time moment. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see somebody else do that, Jake. I know it's quite a noticeable entry line, but just because one driver does it doesn't mean nobody else is going to do it. So keep your eyes on that. We may see more drivers getting an unsafe entry.
Well, it was unsafe exit rather than unsafe entry, so that for Kamara is why he's had to come back around in and instead wasn't stood in the box. We'll take another look at this then, as we will get a look in a moment. But Sander Haugeru before that is going to be a battle of the Scandies, and Norway decides we're better than the Swedes. Good move.
Yeah, good mood. I don't know if I'd have an opinion on that one. Here comes the replay of Florian. Now, where is this exit line here? Oh, he can't. You can straight away. I didn't even need to wait to see it. He wanted to get really back into attacking there and just missed that line. It's not like Sebring like it was in Florida last time, Jake, with a cone telling you where the exit is. You're just going to have to look. And in these cars, that's kind of tough to see that line.
Yeah, the cone's on the outside, by the way, not the inside, which is, of course, because the cone would be in the middle of the track. So it's very much a case of always eye lines going left rather than right. And so you've just got to try and dance between the lines, and Florian cut it a little bit too fine out there. Alex Hagland now back to 6th position, and realizing here he's going to need a little bit of a hurry up, as so too will Eduardo Radice. He's got the medium tyres here of Kostek Solovier just behind, looking to give him something to think about. And Solovier here, 132.2 on that last lap, 8/10 quicker than the Italian.
And a very shocking that to go medium. So what does he know that the others don't know? Because he's going to have to make these times work, and he's still a little bit faster. He's 5/10 faster than Jacob Reed. You can see on that timing tower that Mario is catching the Worcesterman, and this is what Kostek has to do right now, catch up to the championship leader, Eduardo Radice. So the question will be, one, how long is he going to take these mediums? Because he's got another 35-ish laps to go. Two, how long is Eduardo going to keep on these softs? Because, well, I wouldn't be surprised if those softs are crying out for a break right now.
Well, those softs are probably tapping out and saying, we just don't want to do any more of this circuit, get another set of us on. And this is where you have to say the damage from turn 1 of this race has really affected Eduardo Radice, who has never won in Florida. Neither, mind you, has Jacob Reed. And if you want to talk about Mario Bodlosh, he's never won, period.
Well, could be a first time for some first times. On the first time, we're here at Miami. So keep your eyes on that, Jake, because we could be seeing a little bit of history today, and it had to be called because of what happened at lap 1 there. But sometimes it's like the lottery. You've got to be in it to win it, and these guys are still in it. The gap may be 41 seconds here between 8th and 1st, but that's the equivalent of a pit stop or 2 pit stops. So anything can still happen. Ballas as well, he's still trying to make a little bit of a recovery drive. The Hungarian still battling in the background here. Get past Barnes, and what could have been for Barnes a great start as well. And he's not doing bad in 16th there is the number 20 car.
No, but the issue he's got is he's in a very strong strength of field. It's 5,800, and when you're the bottom driver in it, you're going to need some drivers to basically fall by the wayside to move up the order. And he's got one in James Byrne. He's got George van Rensburg down the order. This is Lyle Pienaar on board with the South African, trying to move on through and get the rotation in the corners here through 6 into turn 7, and trying to get the drive off of the run and say, look, we're away. And now this is where you just got to try and wake up, understand where your marks are, dance between these corners, which aren't going to be too much threat. That's turn 9, this is turn 10. You're heading over to turn 11 here, and this is where you get the DRS and the battery to help. Big lunge as Solovier gets the move done, as 2, Lyle Pienaar goes very deep, but Max Barnes there, let him have it. In quote, he left the barn door open.
Left the barn door open, but I think the director will be happy to see a South African make the overtake. I said he was going to show every overtake from the South African drivers today, and I think I might be right there, but now he's got to defend on Barnes, and I don't think that's going to be easy. Now, can Eduardo defend here? Well, all sources point to no, because I don't think he's going to be able to attack this position right now. Those tyres are starting to wear. He was almost a second slower on these very old soft, because that's what they are right now, Jake. They're very old, and I wouldn't be surprised if he even looks about going for another set of softs. Well, he's got 30 laps and a lighter tank to go on a 52 Celsius track temp. It is, yeah, it's any time from now. I would say his window's open. He's got a window of 5 laps.
He does. Look at that front right, how bare it is compared to the shine to the front left. If any tyre is going to pop right now, Craig, it is that front right tyre.
Yeah, I was starting to actually look to see if there was any, like, delaminations or anything, because they do see that, but the shine is what you're looking at, and even from a distance, you can see that shine almost hits it. Now, that, to me, just almost hitting the wall there at 16, that says to me there's no life in that tyre. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to give him both warnings by Aussie Greg on the radio.
Yeah, that will be a case of, look, you've got to come in, you've got to make that pit stop now, otherwise that tyre is going to shred and pop here around Miami, and he'll be looking over at that right-hand side and says, I still can go another lap here, that tyre's still fine for me. So he's not too concerned by it, but I'm concerned by it, and I'm sure everyone who's watching who's a fan of the reigning champion is a bit concerned about it right now, how much he is in the tank and having to take his medicine right now, knowing that he's going to have to really charge on the fresh set of tyres that he puts on to bring himself back to the end of this race. Jacob Reed as well will be looking at, what, one stop left at the end by the time he gets to the end of this race. He's trying to get lapped cars done here. He gets by Ken Nielsen without too much worry, but that gap is down to 6 seconds in 3 laps. That could be down to 2 seconds, and that could be the race on between him and Mario Bodlosh behind.
Well, look at the tyres, right? Look at the tyres. I mean, the front right one is just as bare. The rear right is also bare on Jacob's car. So this car is really starting to struggle. You wouldn't know it with just how, I wouldn't say smooth, but how efficient he's taking these corners. And there you go. There's that rear. Great one there. I'm starting to actually see, I don't know if it's just my eyes.
I see carcass.
I see carcass, yeah. I see carcass as well.
That's scary if that rear tyre is going, and actually that's a really good indicator of driving style as Ali Goachman then scrapping it out then at this moment for 14th, 13th with Renato Augusto. Renato's got the place. You saw Eduardo Radice had nowhere really showing on his right rear tyre. That indicates to me Jacob Reed has got a setup that is more balanced towards the rear of the car, and he's just made a big mistake under braking there. That's going to cost him another second, and I think he's due now for a pit stop. Remember, he's been on that set of tyres for 28 straight laps.
Well, I'm starting to look at Radice as well as we see Goachman in the top of the screen battling with Augusto. I'm starting to see almost similar delamination of like on the rear of Radice's car. So are they both going for something a little bit similar here? I wonder. Goachman still trying to battle in that picture-in-picture, but that gap's getting awfully close. And if Radice isn't pitting, Reed isn't pitting, what are they doing? Jacob's got to go in. This looks like a pit entry. No, I thought that was a pit entry for a moment.
No, it's not. He's going out another lap here to lap 29. He's at least good to lap 30. And so he's just got to baby those tyres around and say, I am pretty much going to leave this until Mario Bodlosh gets DRS on me. I think that's the aim of the game right now. Gabri Martinez, remember, has also stayed out the entire way. That's Florian Kammeier, even with a drive-through penalty, getting the pass done. Another driver who is in the tank on the right-hand side tyres and really strong. Oh, big one. That's Goachman and Renato Augusto at turn 11 there. Both out of the race, and that is a massive hit. I think Goachman's going to be able to survive, and that, I think, was a tyre blowout from Renato Augusto.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was a very questionable second move, if I would say so, in the booth. We'll probably get a replay of it moment there, but that's a very questionable move. With the speed differences, he does not have the DRS. Behind has the DRS, and that was very questionable from that move. And once again, Radice going through. Here comes this move here, Jay. Look at this. This is what they call a reactionary move.
Yeah, it's late. It's late to cover it off. Ali Goachman doesn't have time to get back. And I think Reynaldo will look at it and go, yeah, I've only got myself to blame on that one. If he looks back at it in earnest, Ali Goachman doesn't have enough time to react to get that back, especially looking around at it. So very tough to deal with, but that is at least one more car out of the race. And Goachman, by the way, is down, and he's not got the black and orange mechanical flag. He will just need a front wing change, but he has retired the car from the race, and so Ali Goachman's day is done out there at this point. Eduardo Radice in 8th place here with 27 laps to go here. Well, 28 laps to go when he next crosses the line. Eduardo knows that there are drivers falling by the wayside. Points are becoming easier and easier to come by.
Well, just think about it. That's 2 drivers that have just crashed out who would have been in his vicinity when he came out the pit again. So, yeah, that's good. And, Jake, have you noticed the front left now at Eduardo's tyres? Look at it. The only thing that's got to shine right now is his rear left. That's the only thing that I would like to look my face in to see a reflection. Everything is looking very tight, and I can confirm James Byrne is officially the first retiree. He's finally decided after all that time to call it a day.
Well, if you can see, it's only the rear left that's visible for Eduardo Radiz. Jacob Reed only has the front left shining right now.
Sorry, I was thinking Kamai here. We'll get back to real racing. I was just trying to find the right words for that. I couldn't find the right words. The Pariari still trying to battle Kamai. Can't get it done. He gets that move done with the DRS on the start line. And these drivers on different strategy because the Pariari pitted 7 laps before Florian did. And, well, that's 7/10 to the slower to Florian, just to go to show that time right now. He's probably going to be pitting soon as well, but Martinez hasn't pitted, Reed hasn't pitted, Radiz has to pit sometime as well. I'm worried about some of these drivers.
I am too, but Florian Kamai back into the points after getting the move on Edward Apari-Ari, so can be very happy about that move being done. He's got 15 seconds now to get to Leopold Staneros, who is there in 9th place. There is the championship leader working through turn 17 on the back of Kostek Solovier. This won't be helping his tyre life, the fact that he's just trying to work around it. It's plateaued out to 133s for him at the moment, so he's managing this gap. And Jacob Reed, similarly, I think has plateaued at the moment because that gap is around 3 seconds. It's not really being chipped in here by Mario Bodlosh.
Last time by was a 32.9 for Reed, a 32.2 for Bodlosh, and that's starting to show a little bit. And Mario's tyres do have that sheen on. But remember, he pitted lap 19, we're lap 31, and he's losing a little bit of time now. And all of a sudden, these tyres that look dead, in fact, all the tyres now, Jake, are dull on Jacob Reed's car. And somehow, he's still throwing these tyres into the vicinity, and he's still going around again. We saw Carcass, what, 5 laps ago, Jake, on that rear right? And the tyre still looks like it's good to go. Hey, Bodlosh is in the pits!
Yeah, he'll go for another stop. He'll do 2 before Jacob Reed even gets none out on the board. And I think this is an indicator right now from Mario Bodlosh as he is going to be followed into the pits there behind by Kent Nielsen for his first stop. I'm going to go aggressive here on this. I'm going to try and undercut right now because it will be same tyre life as we fight at the end. This is a big, bold call, and what's worse is he comes out right behind Volta Lux, who runs wide through turn 3. Now he's going to have to scrap here into turn 4. The 2 Austrians going for it. Sweep around, good pass.
Hold on 1 second, those tyres still aren't to temperature, and Walter's going to try and make this work. This is not good for Mario. This is very tough. Radiz is in. I just want to say, we're talking about this tyre life here, Jake. Reed just went green last time with a 32.6 with those tyres. He knows that Mario has just come out the pit. He's in a battle. 22.7 seconds is the gap. A pit stop cone to cone is taking 20 seconds. Jacob is just extending this. And if we had those little stats that you see in the real world, I think Jacob's got a window now of, what, 3 laps to come into the pit if he wants to keep this lead.
Yeah, we don't have AWS services helping us, but he is taking this to the extreme, and he is not pitting. He is very happy with what he's got. He wants a very aggressive final stint on the softs, and I don't blame him for the way that he's eyeing this up. He needs a margin. 1 second, 1 lap, 2 laps, not going to cut it. He probably needs 3 now, and this is him changing on the fly and just managing it. He can't go the entire way on that set of tyres. No way, Jose, but he is really just trying to softly baby his way around the circuit here, through 6, into 7, right up on the curb there, through the left-hand side, trying to attack the run off of the exit. A driver, Jacob Reed, who has never won in Florida despite his 27 career victories in the iRacing Grand Prix Tour and 2 World Championships that he has picked up. This is the driver of all drivers, and when he does something that everyone else doesn't, everyone sits up and pays attention.
This is a masterful drive, and I'm knocking on wood as I say that, as he's starting to nurse these tyres a little bit more, and he's just etching out every bit. He's almost just taking a knife and just taking micrometers of rubber off each lap. That's what he's doing right now. As you're seeing, look, that was that D-lam that we thought we were seeing on that front left, and it's not affected him. And he's still going hard into this.
Oh, Radiz in trouble.
Radiz in trouble?
Radiz in trouble. He's found the wall at turn 2. So he's gone off the road. I don't know whether he's been able to keep it out the barriers. He's had a nick of it, but the wing's still on. But critically, he has damaged a second front wing in this one. Through turn 2, caught the curb, couldn't catch the slide.
Yeah, couldn't catch the slide, and there is wing damage to that, and he's already done his second stop. What's that going to do? As Reed comes into the pits, cometh the hour, cometh the Worcesterman. Where does Mario go? Mario's just out on the start-finish line right now. This could be it. Mario will just get the lead. I don't know. I think Jacob's going to be there. Jacob's back in the lead. He's going to warm the tyres up, Jake. This is a master stroke by a former champion.
Yeah, but Mario Bodlosh here, remember, he's better on the straights than Jacob Reed is. He's in DRS range right now, and he can strike him at turn 11 to go and get this pass. Jacob Reed isn't out of the woods just yet, just because he came out of the pits in the race lead. And now, here comes a chance for the Austrian to move back to position number 1. He's got the drive, he's got the ability to go to the inside. This is an important pass, and Mario Bodlosh gets it done and moves swiftly to that race lead.
But I'll tell you something I just noticed there, Jake. Jacob was 303 kilometers an hour. Now, remember when we saw him down that back straight that time as Max Barnes gone into the pit from a tow? Remember we saw him down this straight and he couldn't hit 300? On his own, he hit 300. Now, I'm just thinking, was he also using a different engine mode, a different battery mode for that moment there earlier in the race to save tires? That could have been a strategy, because now he's on the softs. Well, his speed looks decent. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up, but was he just saving by going slower?
That might be one of the ways he's done it. Max Barnes, by the way, has gone off. It was turn 16 where it went wrong, not 17, 16. So this is coming through here, this section, trying to turn in, and he's just carried way too much speed in. He's caught the Tech Pro barrier there, and that is a nightmare. He has damaged the front wheel, and his day written off and done. Bodlosh here, 9/10 of a second, just ticks it over a second. Mario is trying to build the margin early and maybe stave it off late.
But we know what Jake can do with tyre saving, but we've not seen what he can do on a soft tyre. And Mario, well, we've seen what he can do on a soft tyre, and it's only about 20 laps or so. So this could be very interesting, because the fuel tank makes the car lighter, use a bit more time. But that was Jake. Jacob, I believe he was in DRS range that whole time. Was he in DRS? I just missed the light there. If he was, he'd caught up to Mario and kept up to Mario.
He's done well there. Podstaneros in for his final stop of the day. Expect everyone behind as well to have one more stop to get themselves home. I think he did have the light and the flash, and he'll get it again here with Mario Bodlosh. So now he can put him in the pressure cooker and make him sweat out here in Miami. And this has been a really, really important game out there. This is the equivalent right now here, Craig, of getting to the fourth quarter of an NFL game and they're tied on points.
Yeah, or it could also be the bottom of the ninth with not with 2 to go, but at the bottom of the ninth, and you've got to find a run. You've got all your routes remaining. You've got to really start to do this. And Miami doesn't really know how to do that, but one thing that is for sure, Jacob Reed knows how to, and you've got to give a shout out there. He was only a tenth slower than Mario that last time by, but he really is starting to show how in this series, a different strategy can work. Can he make the one-stopper work? It worked in other races today, and I wonder if he's going to make it work against everyone doing two-stoppers, because that track temp creeped up to 52 Celsius again, back down to 51. It's 124, and we haven't talked about that wind for a while, Jake. That wind is starting to go southwesterly a little bit more. It's no longer westerly, and just a little bit of that change might also help when it comes to these straights.
Yeah, a wind direction now to southwest. It completely changes the way that you take. Oh, there's a spinner in front of the leaders there, and that's Gabriel Martinez, who's gone around and is at a very awkward place on circuit. Thankfully, he was off the racing line as he's got himself onto a set of soft tyres, but that could have just opened up a chance now here for a pass to be made. Jacob Reed's got enough of a run here to think about it, but it's just that, a thought around the lap traffic. That was a scary moment for your leading to Gabriel replay.
Gabri has flirted with that curb one too many times, and the curb finally got its revenge. Jacob's got DRS this time, puts out the Hamilton move, and nothing there. But what was interesting was we saw how fast Mario could go. He was only 305 going down that straight at the very end. And of course, Jacob, with that DRS, got up to 315. 10 kilometers an hour difference. Well, it was enough if he had another, what, 400 meters to make a move there. Could not really make any more there. And was that an off track for Mario? And we may need to start flirting and talking about off tracks and incidents here, Jake, because somebody may be getting close to a drive-through.
Yeah, they've got 17 incidents. We don't have the luxury of seeing them here because we're in an iRacing official server, but Mario Bodlos, 315 on the straight, having to defend this one up against Jacob Reed, who gets close to the rear and can't find the overlap for turn 12. It's pretty much single track. They've also got George van Rensburg, the South African, just in front, so manage that. Be careful about how much you scrape the bottom of the car as you go through at turn 14 into 15. Now here on the run along Northwest 203. This is where you've got to get the run, but there is slipstream in front, and there is that rear wing deployment from Mario Bodlos. Oh, a saving grace there from the South African George van Rensburg. Runs slightly wide and could leave himself vulnerable now in towards turn 1. This is another DRS zone. It's a very small zone out there, and Jacob Reed knows it. He's got to chuck one for the inside. He doesn't,
and give George his respect there. He pulled over at the best possible opportunity, and he did help Mario out there. Mario would have been blessing for that. He'll be so happy. Walter Lutz into the pit, Jeffrey Lawler into the pit. So that goes to, there goes the guys that really are tapping out right now and saying we can't go any further. What is Sander Hagerud going to do as well, as he'll come in shortly as well? One would think this is going to help Eduardo Radice out big time, because Kostek's also into the pit, but these drivers continue on. 9 seconds up ahead is the next driver of lap traffic. So Mario's going to have 3 laps of Jacob Reed with an open flap to give him pressure. And that's not a place Jacob's going to go. Jacob will be smart about this because he knows he needs to also maintain these tires. And dare I say it, Jake, my eyes are a little bit old nowadays. There's not much shine on the back of Mario's tires compared to Jacob.
I think it's similar, but not really something that it can be talked about right now. We know that Mario's been pushing, but Jacob Reed has also had to push out there. Lux and Lawler is going to be interesting late on. They are 5th and 6th. It's effectively the fight next for the podium out there at the moment, but no real opportunity given there, and a lot of drive away then from Mario Bodlos on that attempt. That was a big dump of battery to say, look, I'm going to go for it here. Larpina and Balazs Gallia also making their final stops.
That wasn't Jacob recharging battery. That was Jacob serving a slowdown. He cut too much of the run at 14 and 15. He finally cut it. So, and Lux has had the same moment here. So some drivers getting caught out now. And I think it's just the case here, Jake, that the drivers were attacking so much and taking liberties. They've just gone maybe just a little bit closer, maybe just a little bit. And finally, if you didn't get caught out like Gabri did, you're going to get that dreaded slowdown penalty.
Yeah, you don't want it. It's going to cost you time. Sander Haugerud is in. So too is Alex Hagland. They should rejoin the race in 5th and 6th positions, which puts to my money Eduardo Radice here in 8th, and with 4 championship points that he will have to hold on to in the final stages. Jacob Reed is battering the curbs around here. He is desperate to find a way against Mario Bodlos, and here's the issue he sits with. The longer he sits behind Mario Bodlos in this race, the more he goes through the lateral moments with his tyres, and that tyre advantage means nout.
Well, if there's anyone who can save the tyres, it's Jacob Reed. And knocking on wood, he might be able to, but look how much dirty air he's got to go through. And this opening part of the track, this first part of the track, it's so twisty. It's high, medium speed corners. So you're really putting under the pressure here. I almost put it akin to the Porsche S's at Le Mans. Look how tight they are, and look how flowing they are as well.
Volta looks also wanting to get himself to the podium, and he knows he hasn't had one yet this season. Jeffrey Lawler lets him go and have it then. He isn't going to fight him right now. And Jeffrey Lawler, in what is his sophomore season out there, he is really wanting to show that, yeah, he is all that. He's ahead of Volta looks in the championship by 3 points. If they stay as they are, oh, and he gets really close there to losing a front wing. They would be tied on points, these two. Go to the next stage. Jacob Reed looking to the outside of turn 11. Isn't going to get there. Now he's going to try and cut him up and under here. Go around the outside of 12, but he doesn't have the grip.
And the track just tightens up here, so not really going to be able to find any position here. No cutting of the corner this time. I think he learned his lesson, and he gets a smoother exit here. I know Mario's probably going to get a little bit more of a launch, but now look at it. The serpentine is coming out, and this is the sign. And this is the sign. Florian is damaged as well. He's had a moment. Pariari as well. But the outside will belong to Jacob Reed. And Mario said, no, take it. And now it's going to be a chance of you deal with the dirty air, my friend.
Good pass there, and Jacob Reed now takes control. Florian Kammeyer has spun on pit entry, and that will cost him because he's had to get a new front wing. He's just tried to go through. It's a chicane into pit entry, and effectively, you talk about issues on pit entries. We'll get a replay of it here, Craig. That's what we call doing the David Coulthard.
Oh, well, at least it's not the Lewis Hamilton and China. Look at it, tried to slow it down, and I wonder if he took too much speed into that chicane to begin with. That's a heavy hit there. I'm surprised it's just a wing he gets to repair. Well, he doesn't need to use those tyres anymore, so yeah, why not just go for that? That's going to help him, and I'll tell you who this helps as well. Pariari's in the pit. Well, who gets the slipstream? Who gets the DRS from that? It's going to be Jacob Reed. And has Florian had more moment? That's a cold tyre moment there.
Turn 7, he's just got out on the curb and he's had no time to gather it back. He has smashed the Tech Pro barrier, and Florian Kammeyer is going to be out. And then there were 15 here today, so that is really tough to deal with. Here's a look through the left, trying to get himself through, out on the curb, trying to catch it, and then suddenly, look, how do you find the grip to get that back? He's got to get more slowed down than it, and just bang into the wall and troubles. Now 0.8 of a second. Mario Bodlos desperately catching Edward Apariari there, trying to get his toe to have a way to run back with it. And Jacob Reed here suddenly at 0.8 of a second. If he gets out to a second, this is Gio gone.
It almost was gone, but Jacob got held up by Apariari because of that tight section from 13 to 16. And Apariari tried to get out of the way as fast as he could, but in doing so, he gave Jacob DRS, and I think he would have been thankful of that. And the gap, hear that snap, Jake? I hear an elastic band snapping. Jacob Reed is now over a second ahead of Mario, and Mario, I wonder if this means he's going to try and attack hard into these corners. He can't. Look at it. That gap is over a second. And how did you spell it? G-O-N-E? Well, I think it could be W-I-N right now for Mr. Reed.
Well, Jacob Reed would know that this would be a must-win moment for him. He is on a massive racing drought. He has not won a race since Portimao last year. And if you want to put that into context, how long that is a 2-race drought from last season, and you put it over 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races without a win for that guy of this caliber. That is what you call a bogey streak he's trying to snap.
But on the other hand, that is also the level of competition that he's had to deal with as well. You've got to look at it both ways, because Jacob's had his cake and has had it for 2 seasons where he won the championship. Then came a little man called Eduardo Radiz. Then came some more drivers. So the challenge got thrown to him. And I'm not saying the pressure cracked, but it just goes to show that the man who never has had a team, Jake, he's always been an independent. Even when he did esports in the IRO1, he's always been a man on his own. And the lone wolf, as they would say. He's not a Baron Corbin, but I tell you what, I think he'd be feeling like a Bishop Corbin after today.
I think he'll be very happy with the way that he's hunting down. As far as it stands, he's got more laps led at the moment as he pulls out to 1.8 seconds at the front. You would see Eduardo Radiz, as far as it would stand right now, he'd go to 112 championship points. Jacob Reed would go from 61 to 86. So that's 96, 106. He'd only be 26 points back, which is just shy of one race win in distance. Eduardo has admirably fought in this race to try and get it. Oh, Jacob Reed's actually just gone off the road at turn 11, building that margin. Mario has been given a one-up.
I'm surprised he didn't hit the wing either there, because he caught onto the marbles a lot of the marbles there at turn 8, and now he's going to have to hold it as well. But Mario's had another moment as well, and he's just had to get himself going. He could not turn in as he wanted to into turn 16. Here's the moment from Jacob. Was this just too much turning in? The car say no. He tried to open that corner a bit too much, and well, you could put a breeze block between him and the Techco barrier there.
Yeah, he's a lucky boy to still have a car, because anything quicker. And oh, Mario's going for a third stop. Oh my goodness, here. So he's obviously thinking, I can't win this race on this strategy. The only way I can do it is with another set of tyres.
I'm a little bit shocked at that. That's a free stopper. Like, has he conceded to Reed? Reed's going to be going a little bit more patient now. What does this do for Mario and Volta? There's Volta. Well, the gap's still quite big. So, can he... It's what, 15 laps to go, 14 laps to go. I'm trying to do the maths here, Jake. He would need to basically be going 1.1 a lap, and I can't see it. I honestly can't see it.
I think it's too late in the day for it. He's hoping that Jacob Reed's tyres burn out, but that's been the strength of Mario Bodlosh. Get a fresh set on, go out there and attack, and if he knows that he's got to put in 15 qualifying laps, well, that's what he's got to do for his first ever win in the iRacing Grand Prix Tour.
Yeah, but was he pole? No, he was beaten by 3 thousandths by Jacob Reed. In fact, the top 3, remember, they were 8,000 between first and third. 5,000. Are still 5,000, sorry. It's still the top 3 where they started after everything that's going on here. So Mario's going to hope that he gets a little bit of help with the lap traffic to get some DRS, and hope that Jacob doesn't catch the traffic where he would get DRS. But this is a big ask, and I wonder if this is just damage limitation. He's attacked, and he's had to just tip his cap off and say, you are a former champion for a reason, Jacob.
Well, I think you know that this is the best he can do at the situation. He knew he had a free stop behind to Volta look, so if he's going to go out there and do something different, 1 stop versus 3 stop was not what we were expecting to be the story of the day, with everybody pretty much going to a 2 stop. Now I want to focus for 4th and 5th, because Jeffrey Lawler, look behind you. Here comes the ever mercurial man, 4th in the championship, Sander Haugerud.
This is the battle that is going to probably be the grandstand finish we're looking for, as Sander would love to get a position. Net 0 for the day. Jeffrey's been up 4 places in a great drive there for Lawler, and this is now where the attacking goes. They came in lap 37 and lap 38 for Jeffrey and Sander respectively. So tyre life about the same, and now it just comes to how have you kept those tires, and also how is your fuel? Because remember, you don't get any refueling on this. You fuel your car up for a whole race, and we thought about some drivers may have been putting less fuel in to just be able to be a little bit quicker, but I think right now the fuel rates, they're about the same, and it's all going to come down to just this DRS.
And for those who don't like Miami and think that it's another one of these street circuits that doesn't really add anything to a calendar, I will just show you this race and go, this is worth it. Here comes the move from Haugerud, and I think that Jeffrey Lawler again is prioritising a finish. I wonder whether he's deep in the incident point count now here, Craig, and is just trying to get himself home and dry. It's another 9 seconds to Alex Hagland to fend off a top 5.
Yeah, I actually think that's a good call there. We could be looking at incident points, and we know that looks, he had last lap, had to serve a slowdown. And so that's the one driver you think about. If he's had to serve a slowdown, we've seen Jacob attack that curb a bit too much. What are these other drivers looking at right now? And they haven't been in the battle scar. They haven't been losing wings or anything, so they haven't been getting their elbows out. But you don't need to get your elbows out to get a drive through. It's all about your number of time that you go off the track. And we talked about it before, Jake. These drivers have been flirting with some of these off tracks around corners, like turn 7, where outside is just a recommendation. They want to go further outside.
Yeah, they want to show that they can go as far as they can to the limits, and this is a circuit that prioritises getting as close to the limits without going over the top. It's very much the case, the price is right. When you're trying to play out on a race like this one, you can go as close as you like without going over, and that is where the end result is staying here. Jeffrey Lawler knows he's gone a lot closer than he probably would have liked, and he now knows that he is risking going over, and that gap is 0.8 of a second. I also know Alex Hagland under pressure right now because it's only 1.3 back to Kostek Solovier, who has had a very underrated day today.
Yeah, hats off to Solovier. He started 7th. He's still 7th. But in a field like this, in a very competitive field, absolute fantastic driving by him. You've got to just tip your hat off there from how he's been able to just fight on, be aggressive, attack when he needs to. And he's played a blind out here today. And I think this also just goes to show the strength of this track, Jake. Because for a man like him to start 7th, still being 7th, and have battles around the field, just goes to show what this track can do. And I'm with you here, Jake. We're not the BBC. We're not going to show both sides of the fence. No, this has been a fantastic track to show off F1.
It has. It really has. And this is why the iRacing Grand Prix Tour is so cool, and we get to see so much amazing racing that goes about. And Kostek Solovier here again, starting to close on down, and he realizes that he is right in for the picture, and he understands this better than anything else. A 6th place here will be very good points. 8 championship points for him. He has got so far in this season off of just 2 starts, 4 points to his name. An 8th place out there. 8 points here today puts him tied with Florian Kameyer, and he'd be 1 point behind Edward Apariari. He'd take that right now, as would Edward Apariari at the moment. This would be his first points of the season, Craig, since the season opener at Phillip Island.
That just doesn't sound right when you think about the caliber of Apariari and how much he's been driving. Just to have 1 point or 1 point race all season, and it's the first race of the season. It was that fantastic challenge so well, I was going to say Adelaide, but no, it was Phillip Island replicating Australia. That's just pretty crazy. This is interesting. Fastest lap, Bodlos, a second 0.3. I know I said it was the second 0.3. The gap's coming down. But again, 11:10 to go, 16 seconds. He needs to find another 6:10. He'll find it at the end. Like these guys will probably find some time at the end. But I still think it's going to be tight as, well, you see Lawler now having to just be more attacking. How much can they attack when these tyres are just starting to cry out?
Well, Mario Bodlos needs 1.6 seconds a lap, and he's on 1.3 seconds a lap, so it's not good enough for him at the moment. He's got to turn up the wick. Jeffrey Lawler, knowing that when these tyres are going to go deep into the tank, it's about not just how you use them, but when. And this has been the philosophy of the Pirelli tyre for a very, very long time, is that you build a tyre to create intrigue and racing. Not many people like a one-stop. People seeing hot temperatures right now, and at the moment it's like getting a snow cone in these conditions. It will just melt on you. And for the moment, Sander Haugerud, he's holding himself well, but Jeffrey Lawler, I think, is measuring this to attack back later here, and he knows how critical it is on virtual home soil to go and get that run, and he will be virtually cheered on with a virtual 0.2 of a second margin. That's how it always works in sim racing.
He needs this time, and he basically just needs to just apply the pressure. Make Sander start thinking, is he going to attack me or not with this DRS? Will he go for the attack? Well, he's not even close enough with that DRS. He didn't do a lift, but it does feel like right now it is just tyre conservation out there. And, well, look at that time again, though, Jake. I'm looking at the times again, 1.3 between the top two. That's still not enough. That's still not enough for Bodlos. These drivers, they're matching right now. The 32.018 for Lawler, the 32.086. Oh, sorry, 66 for Haggerud there. So it's just getting a bit too close. And I do wonder if we're just going to see something at the end between these drivers. Something's got to go, and I hope it's not a tyre.
I hope, one, it's not a tyre, two, it's not the instant points, and three, it's not each other into each other. This is going to be a really strong showing for the pair of them right now, and this is the basis of this season. These drivers, you know, Sander Haugru, his first season, Jeffrey Lawler joined in halfway last season and was picking up 8th place finishes everywhere. He's really improved from season 2025 to 2026. Alex Hagland's a driver who can go out there and on his day score a podium. This is a very strong field. Oh, what a save! What a save by Jeffrey Lawler, all over the curb. He battered it like it was fish and chips.
I don't even know how he was going to do that. I think I want to throw a flag down for a personal foul, unnecessary roughness to the curb there. He was going a bit too aggressive, and I don't even know. That's millimeters. That's millimeters away from a crash there. And you've basically got to have the reactions of a real-life motorsports driver to make that save in these cars. That was a blinding save. Yeah, he's lost time. Yeah, he's put some tyre wear on. Key thing, though, Jake, he's still in P5, and that's the most important position on iRacing. Why? It's the first time they track your top fives.
Yeah, so when you're tracking those top fives, you are really trying to say, look, how am I going to get this over from now to the end of the season? You absolutely have to be dancing up on a level and saying, right, I am going to be scoring. And now we know that this is why our director's gone here. It's a battle of South African versus South African.
Yeah, I was actually going to have a wonder about that myself, as Rensburg having a little bit of a moment there going through turn 11. But they are close together to one another. They're both on the same old same old tyres, but it does feel like a little bit more wear probably on Rensburg's car right now, on tyres right now. Still in that DRS, just in that DRS, and that's one good thing about the DRS right now. He made that mistake through 11, was able to still keep in that 1 second mark, and that allows him to just continue on this pace to catch back up. And I think we're going to see this in picture later in the race though, Jake, because we've also got Gabriel Martinez they're catching up to.
Yeah, Gabri, of course, is in 12th place, and he's trying to make the one-stop work, and he's down to 1.4, 1.5 seconds here to Lyle Pinar. So this could be a case of they all encroach upon each other, not for points, but between these three drivers, this would just be for pride.
Because points mean prizes. They're not going to get any prizes out here today. The only prize they'll get is who is the best South African out there today. Will it be Pinar? Will it be Rensburg? Well, we'll find out after 7 laps to go. I say 7 laps to go. They are still on the lead lap. Only just, well, actually, no, they're a lap down, sorry. So they are in danger of not falling another lap down, but with more traffic to go. Are we going to see a move here from Rensburg? Well, he's a bit too late to make that move round the outside. Will be Pinar. They almost come together. And I think the director was having a little bit of a cry in the booth there.
Yeah, he wins. There was a cold shudder as if millions and millions of South African fans were quiet for just a brief moment before, okay, it's safe. We can continue on with it, and a wonderful pass then that sets it up. Now Lyle Pinar down to 14th, George van Rensburg now up to 13th position and saying, look, I am now eyeing up 12th, and it is very, very possible for me on a long, arduous recovery journey where he has spread probably about 30 laps of this race, George van Rensburg, not seeing a soul.
And now he sees a soul, and it's almost like a Brit going to the Mediterranean on a holiday. You see another Brit, and he sees another South African in front of him. Jacob Reed, what does he see? Well, he sees hay dirt, and he is going to go for the jugular. He's just continuing to push times, and what was interesting was a couple laps ago, he matched Bodlos's time. That doesn't mean Jacob was going fast. That just meant that Mario had a bad lap. That's all Jacob needs right now. He is in what we call in the endurance racing world, matching. As long as he's close enough to a delta with Mario, and by the way, the gap the last time by was 1.2 seconds in lap time, he's fine. All he's doing right now is nursing these tires, and I gotta say, Jake, they look pretty nice tires right now.
They do, and you also have to note here, Mario Bodlos is going to have to do the old Alain Prost from 1988. He is going to have to push flat out and ask Jacob Reed, who will reprise the role of Ayrton Senna, can you keep this one on track for the final 5 laps of this race? If you can't, I will take it from you, even though I'm nowhere near.
He's just had a little bit of a wobble, has Reed, but he's all right. And on the day that we celebrate the life of Ayrton Senna, who we lost on this day in '94, and of course Ratzenberger the day yesterday, at the same time yesterday. Well, that's just a great analogy there with Prost and Senna. It does feel like this almost feels a little bit like Verstappen and Hamilton right now, as there's not a lot happening and a lot of gaps trying to push on. Walter Lutz, he's had a very quiet race. He managed to get past Hager, and he's managed to keep on there. He's got a bit of battles again. Who has he got in front of him, Jake? Is that 2 South Africans? I wondered why we had Walter Lutz on the screen.
It's not just that. It's 2 South Africans and our director's favourite driver, Gabri Martinez.
Oh, yes, because Gav, yes, that's actually interesting. While these two have been battling, Pinar and Rensburg have been battling, they've managed to catch up to Gabri Martinez, and he's not had the best of time here, and I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Walter get past Pinar, as you just see, there's a little bit of confusion there between the 2 drivers on where do you want me to go, and just hold your line and let the faster car go by. Losing out a little bit there, but is Rensburg going to try and make a move on to Gabri Martinez? Both of them with some tyres. Last of the late breakers will be Gabri Martinez. Gabri's going to try and hold around the outside. The marbles say no. The grip says no for Rensburg. Holds on to this. They can't go side by side through here.
They can, and Gabri will hold the place. So that is brilliant work there. Gabri Martinez understanding that George van Rensburg out on the marbles. Nobody's really been pushing that line. So he's not going to have any grip out there. And while he just basically does his best Tom and Jerry skit, he'll be just happily chuckling, but only until now, because this is when George van Rensburg can come back and throw a haymaker to the inside. He elects to do none of the sort, but Gabri's gone too deep here, and that is a freebie. Almost, though, Gabri's not done. Through 18 into 19, he commands back on the inside. He'll get DRS, and now here comes Walter Lutz. There's one, and now you're going to have to be very careful. Gabri has missed the braking zone by a country mile. There goes George van Rensburg.
I think Gabri's tyres are shot. I think he's overdriven these tyres. They're 6 laps older than what you see with Pinar and Rensburg, and I just think that those tyres are just starting to say no. And I wonder if that, what was that word we were saying earlier? He doesn't have quit in his language. Well, the Spanish word for quit is salier. I think he might be having to start to quit there. I think he might be tapping out.
I don't think he's got a choice here. I think he knows that was an important moment where he needs the tyres, and the amount of times he's been off the road and missing braking points, I think he'll be looking at his instant point counter as well, going 4 laps to go. Let's not do anything too hasty at this point, as Lyle Pinar here in 13th just keeps himself steady. This is the closest battle out there on track at the moment. Jeffrey Lawler is 3 seconds back of Sander Haugerud, not really closing. Stolovier has lost ground to Alex Hagland as well. It has now just settled itself out. It's got all the makings, with the exception of these 3, of a settled race result, barring catastrophe.
And now it's just a case of make sure, if you're not in a battle, to just conserve those off tracks so you don't run into a little bit of a moment. Are we going to see? Well, Rensburg's not trying to attack Lutz here. As behind, Gabri's gone around. Gabri's gone around. He's trying to keep that speed on as much as he can. And the worst thing he needs right now is make sure he does not get involved in any of the other runners there coming on by. But I think Gabri, he's close. He's had a moment. Still staying out there. I think those tyres will want him to just get some... Well, he's only going to lose 1 position if he pits.
Well, I'd like to put it to you like this about Gabri Martinez. If he puts the time, really dedicates himself to it, how far up do you think he can go with a driver of his aggressive nature?
It's so weird to ask that question on a series like this, because the aggressive driving, and he is an aggressive driver, and I know some drivers do like that. It's a driving style. And I wonder if Gabri can just focus that style into this. This is not, as he's almost going around again, this is not a car you can be aggressive in at this stage of the race. You have to learn when to be aggressive in these cars, and I wonder if that's something he needs to learn. He has shown nature, because he is a regular driver here on GSRC in other series. He has shown times where he can be patient, where he can make the runs, but at this stage, I think all that grip, and you get this factor here, Jake. When you get into this car, you realize oh my word, there's grip for days. It's not like the old W12. They're still gripping for days in these cars. When you drive something else, you don't get the grip that you get in these cars. It can throw you off, and it can confuse you thinking you can be aggressive all the time.
You think you can. When you see this car, you think, right, it's a license to go out there and attack, and it really isn't. You have to be patient. You have to know the when and wheres, the whys, the hows, and I think that's been the story of this race, Craig. It's just been, how do you push it? When, where, how? And Jacob Reed, I think, has only really pushed for about 5 laps in this entire race.
I mean, he put on a clinic today showing how to do it, how to be the Sergio Perez of iRacing, to be the tire whisperer. He has done, well, we talked about it. I mean, we knew that one stops were doable by some drivers earlier today, but did we actually think it was going to be possible when the track was as high as 52 Celsius, and even now it's 51 Celsius? Those tires look like they could go for another 10 laps, and he's only got 2 to go.
He has done so well over the course of this run. Barney will wait then in front of the Hard Rock Stadium and say, look, you have got yourself 1 lap to go, and this will be the equivalence here of taking the victory formation and just kneeling, as he's got 1 lap with 9 seconds worth of margin here over Mario Bodlos. And take nothing away from Mario, when he was at the Nürburgring, he took Eduardo Radice right to the limit. Here on what has been a tough first berth here as we have sat around Miami, Mario has thrown everything at the wind and hoped that something would stick. He's taken 3 stops to Jacob Reed's 1. He's not a million miles away from making this one absolutely perfect, but these 2 are a full half a minute clear of everybody else in this pack. Simply put, Eduardo Radice, for the first time this season, has had to struggle, has had to fight and scrap to get anything he possibly can, and this is a counter punch after seeing 10-9 rounds for the first 5. This is a 10-8 the other way that snaps back and says this championship is not going to be written as a conclusion. This one is going to go a very long time. Welcome here to the month of May, the greatest month in all of racing. And here in the iRacing Grand Prix Tour, this man in the number 3, the 2-time world champion, is going to say, I am still just as much in the title picture. Finally, a first in Florida for Jacob Reed as he takes career win number 28 of his Grand Prix Tour career. Mario Bodlos will have to continue his wait for his first win. He's second, and it's a long old hold for Walter Lux, who is eyeing up and surely will now get here, Craig. An all-important podium, because this is his first of 2026.
Well, if it's welcome to the top step for Jacob Reed, it's welcome to the podium to Walter Lutz. This has been a great drive by him as well, and it just goes to show the pace. Walter was on a 2-stopper. He was beaten by 31 seconds by Mario, who was on a 3-stopper, and by 40 seconds by Jacob, who was on a 4-stopper. Haggerud will finish in that P4. That's a really good run for him. And Jeffrey Lawler, give it up for him. A P5, that's just what he needed.
Yeah, Alex Hagland coming to the line, and soon we'll see the championship leader and the points he'll drop. Great drive by Slovier, by the way. He'll be happy about that, but 2 front wings, 1 of his own accord, 1 just getting caught up in lap 1, not getting the qualifying perfect. Eduardo Radice will realise back to the drawing board for Montreal in 3 weeks' time. That is going to be a stinger, as we will only get 9 finishers on the lead lap. And here is that 9th place driver, Leopold Steneros here, the Swede, making his progress over. Sometimes can run really hot. Today, not so much, but still a good drive out there from Leopold. He'll take confidence with it as he moves on forward. This has been a strength of a race here, that this one has had to go many different directions in order to work out who is going to manage what. Tactical from start to finish, but let's get a confirmation of result then on your screen, because in 1 hour, 28 minutes and 14 seconds, Jacob Reed wins by 7.8 over a 3-stopping Mario Bodlosh, as Volta Lux and Sander Haugeru will be 3rd and 4th. It's Jeffrey Lawler getting his 3rd top 5 of the season, as Alex Hagland and Kostek Solovier are 6th and 7th, with Eduardo Radice, your championship leader, a minute 11 down in 8th, and he's seeding very big points. He will lead by 26 going to Montreal, with Leopold Steneros 9th and Edward Apariari getting his first point scored since the opener at Phillip Island.
Well, give a shout out to Ballas Galliard, biggest charger today, up 9 places, only good enough for 11. George Rensburg does finish in 12th, ahead of Lyle Pinar. The South Africans having a little procession at the end there. Gabriel Martinez will be in 14th, and Kent Nielsen, will be the last driver racing, as Florian Kamaya had to take a retirement after a couple of incidents. Max Barnes found the barrier a couple of times. Augusto came together with Goshman in 18th and 19th, and James Byrne, well, not the best day in the office for the number 1 car.
No, he knows that he drops another 4 points back, and this is going to be a really tough championship for him, and he is going to have to dig down deep as far as racing prowess goes. We do have a driver here ready to chat with us, a top 5 at the office today for Jeffrey Lawler. Jeffrey, how critical was this circuit today? Because it looked like out there that, you know, it was going to be a 1-stop walking in. Then the temperature made it a 2-stop, and I'm not sure everybody knew exactly where they stood, especially with you, as you were right down on the inside for lap 1, turn 1.
I mean, short run to T1, car in front didn't have a great launch, and went on the inside, and it was either he backs out or I back out, and no one conceded. So you throw another car on the outside that doesn't know it's 3 wide, and that's kind of what happens there. So fortunate for Eduardo, got caught in that. But as far as the race, I think it was more or less, the idea was going to be a 2-stop. I think the only thing that would have changed that is if the clouds came out of nowhere, but it didn't look like it was going to. But yeah, it was just a shame that the pace was good, quality, a little bit of a mistake there. But just a shame that didn't break early enough there behind Walter, and then that little tap just shattered the carbon fiber on the front. So tried to hold on.
And hold on, you managed to. A top 5 finish is going to be really important for you. You are right up there in that three driver group. It's you, it's Sander, it's Volta. In terms of the expectation, this being your first full season, are you looking at this start through 6 races going, I've built myself a really nice platform to go and attack the next quarter of this season?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it's more just about minimizing mistakes, trying to get better at that. But yeah, I mean, definitely better than last season. So happy with that.
Happy with that. We are head back into North America again, which of course we still are in North America, but in 3 weeks we'll be jumping over to Montreal for the next round. Very much similar to Miami in terms of street circuit, but a lot tighter, a lot more closed in. How are you feeling about heading over to Montreal? Is that going to be a circuit that gets you consistently inside that top 5?
I haven't done that track since last year in the Tour and anything, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck for what comes up next. Jeffrey Lawler there joining us then with a 5th place finish in on the docket. What a wonderful show that we have had. But, of course, next time we're with you, we will be with you on the greatest week of motorsport, because we will note that there will be this race here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, May 22nd. You will also have the likes, of course, of Formula 1 going to Gilles Villeneuve, and in IndyCar, the Indy 500 that will be there. You can catch us, of course, from 6:45 UTC, 2:45 Eastern for that as part of a Genesis Extreme production. A massive thanks to the team that has brought this show over to you today, from Craig, from Christian, and from Dougie. In terms of what comes up next here on the Global Sim Racing Channel, we'll be at Alton Park on Saturday morning, for just into Saturday afternoon even, for those watching Grand Prix Legends, the IMSA Vintage Series. We'll be back here at Miami. Tomorrow, it's going to be a classic Lotus Grand Prix share out there, or Sunday it would be, the day after that, over at Thruxton. That's going to be a high-speed thrill ride. And we like Miami 3 times in a week. We'll be there for the Porsche's Owners Club as well. So jumping in, if you love your Miami fix, you're getting all of it here today. What a day where this championship is irrevocably changed from where it was walking in. Eduardo Radiz had seen 5 straight checkered flags in first position. Not today. Damage to the front wing twice pretty much puts an end to that. With James Byrne in the barriers, who stands up? Who says, I'll make myself counted? Well, the 2-time reigning champ will. Reed running riot against Mario Bodlosh, who was super today, but just not super enough. Jacob Reed knows he waltzes back into contention pictures, and he'll know that on the St. Lawrence River, he is going to be the one to say, I'm no loser when it comes to Montreal.
This is iRacing.